All right, you think you know the laws in India? I bet you're going to be surprised. Today, we're diving into 15 absolutely shocking laws that you probably had no idea existed. And these could affect everything from who you marry to, get this, how you even pay for your groceries. So yeah, let's jump right in. So let me just ask you straight up. Do you really know the laws that shape your day-to-day life? Because I'm willing to bet there are a few on this list that are going to make you go, wait, seriously? That's a law? Come on, let's see if I'm right. Okay, first up, let's talk about something super important. Your personal rights. We're talking about laws that protect your freedom, your relationships, your stuff, and probably in ways you've never even thought about. Okay, first on the list is love marriage. Now, we all know how much family approval matters in our culture, right? But here's the thing. The law is actually crystal clear on this. Under the Special Marriage Act, if you're both adults, well, you don't legally need your parents' permission to get married. Nope. The final decision is all yours. Legally speaking, of course. And this really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The law is modern, but society isn't. It perfectly sums up that disconnect between what the law says and what society expects. You know, the law might be all for individual choice, but sometimes old habits and traditions, they die hard. All right, next up, live-in relationships. There's so much confusion around this, right? Well, let's clear it up once and for all. They are 100% legal in India. And while there isn't like a single live-in relationship act, a whole bunch of Supreme Court rulings have made it super clear that the rights of consenting adults living together are totally protected. So the bottom line is this, and it's powerful. No one can say a live-in relationship is illegal. It's your choice, it's protected by law, and that's something every single adult should know. Think about your phone, your laptop. They're basically your whole life, right? Well, the law is finally catching up. They are legally considered your personal digital property. So what does that mean? It means a police officer can't just walk up and demand to seize or search them. No way. They need a proper warrant or a court order. You absolutely have the right to say no. Okay, so that covers some of the rights that protect you in your private life. Now, let's switch gears. In Section 2, we're going to look at your rights when you're out and about, in public. These are situations you could literally run into any day. Okay, this is a huge one, and seriously, everyone who drives should know this. Picture this. You get pulled over, maybe for not wearing a helmet. The traffic cop indefinitely give you a fine. That's totally within their rights. But what they cannot legally do is reach over and snatch your keys right out of the ignition. That's a big no-no. And this quote just says it all. Seizing the keys is illegal, only a fine. Yep, taking your keys is actually considered an illegal seizure. Just knowing that one little thing can make a world of difference if you're ever in that kind of stressful situation. Now, this is an absolutely critical safety law, specifically designed to protect women. So during the daytime, the police can ask a woman to come to the station for questioning. But the moment it hits 6 p.m., the rule book totally changes. They cannot call her to the station, period. Not without a court order. If they need to question her, they have to do it at her home, and a female officer has to be there. Super important to know. Okay, we've all seen people do this, right? Just hopping across the railway tracks to save a few minutes? Well, it's not just incredibly dangerous, it's actually a serious crime. Yeah, a criminal offense. If you get caught, you could be looking at up to 6 months in jail and a hefty fine. And don't fool yourself into thinking it's no big deal. Even a shortcut from the platform is a big crime. It might feel like just a tiny shortcut, but in the eyes of the law, it's a major safety violation. So yeah, the message here is pretty simple. Just use the bridge. All right, let's talk about how the law is actually moving forward. This next section is all about those progressive laws, the ones that show how society is changing, becoming more modern, and really putting a focus on human rights. Check this out. This chart shows a massive change that happened back in 2005. The Hindu Succession Act got a major update, and it's a game changer. It gives daughters an equal share in ancestral property. So a daughter is now considered an equal legal heir, right alongside a son. And here's the most important part. This is the law, even if there's no will. This timeline here, wow, it shows such a huge compassionate shift in how we think about mental health. So before 2017, and this is hard to believe, a person who attempted suicide could actually be charged with a crime. But thankfully, the Mental Health Care Act of 2017 turned that completely on its head. Now it's decriminalized, it's not seen as a crime, but as what it truly is, a desperate cry for help.
And really, this leads to an amazing conclusion. Indian law is on the side of human support. It shows this massive shift, moving away from punishment and towards compassion and actual care. That's what I call real progress.
And it doesn't stop there. Here are 3 more quick but really significant updates for you. First, you can now fly the Indian flag at your home 24/7, as long as you treat it with respect. Second, the Supreme Court decided that playing the national anthem in movie theaters, not mandatory anymore. And third, and this is so important, any marriage that involves a minor is completely invalid, right from the start.
Okay, we've talked about the serious stuff, the progressive stuff. So for our last section, let's just have some fun. We're going to dive into some of the weirdest, most bizarre laws that are still technically a thing in India. You won't believe some of these.
Okay, get this. There's an old British-era law that's still technically on the books, which required a bell to be rung before a plane could take off in India. A bell. I mean, obviously no one does that today, but it's just this hilarious little piece of history that's still hanging around. This next one might actually affect some of you. So, in a lot of states, only the government has the right to make alcohol. So, what does that mean for your homebrewing hobby? Well, technically, even just fermenting a little wine or brewing some beer at home for yourself could be illegal. Kind of wild, right? All right, look at the screen, just the number 2. What on earth could be weird about the number 2? Well, believe it or not, it has everything to do with the change jingling in your pocket. Here's the deal. While coins are obviously legal money, there's a limit to how many a shopkeeper actually has to accept in a single transaction. So if someone walks in and tries to pay for something expensive entirely with a giant bag of 2 rupee coins, you can legally say, "Nope, sorry." And there you have it, some of the most surprising, shocking, and just plain weird facts from Indian law. It really proves you're always learning something new, right? So if you want to see more explainers like this with even more hidden truths, you have to let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in.